Does everyone have their handy dandy agenda with them? Thank you for attending, Megan, in person. Yeah. All right, so. We're gonna call this meeting to order. 9 o'clock, January 11th, 2023, and we're gonna do roll call first. We'll go around the room. Go to my left. I'll start it off. I'm Melanie Lewis. I represent regulated electricity for Pacific Corp, and I'm the chair of this board.
I'm John Sapp. I represent Working Department of Transportation, and I was telling Melanie that I feel like I'm the student that has to sit next to the teacher, and I'm in trouble, so I'll do my best.
Jamie Lemke, representing natural gas distribution, also now the vice chair of this board, work for Northwest Natural.
Good morning, my name is Sean Carter, representing cities under 25,000, and I work for the city of Pelham.
Frank Plant with One Call Concepts.
Kevin Hennessy, representing Oregon Public.
Megan Moore, Central Lincoln PUD, representing PUD.
Gagagos, One Call Concepts.
Katie O'Keefe, executive assistant and outreach coordinator.
Josh Thomas, executive director at OUNC, and glad I wasn't flying today.
Paul Schmidt, representing contractors working with Candy Excavating.
Mitch Burgell representing Cable TV, working for Comcast.
Neighbor Bear Harvest Energy Services representing municipal electric utilities.
Connor Tony, representing excavators, work with loading.
Alba Vogelin, working for Clackamas County, representing counties, and I'm the president of this board. And it looks like we just joined us. Kim Boyd,
Yep, Kim Boyd with One Call Concepts.
thank you. Lee, are you signed in yet? Just popped in.
I'm here.
Awesome. Would you like to announce yourself?
Sorry, I didn't realize we were going around and announcing ourselves. Lee Tuminello representing cities with population greater than 25,000.
Anyone else that has joined us virtually? Martha? Well, that makes me happy. We have a lot of present people. As a guest, please have our guests sign in. Kyle. Kyle, no, was unable to join, so we have Paul. Oh my gosh, safety moment again.
I am so lucky, I tell you what, I bought a lottery ticket too.
Slack.
Oh, always. Quick moment, who remembers our safety moment from last month with the pictures and words outside of those I talked to already?
And you made-
Volunteer, Mr. Nate.
I don't participate during public meeting, but I loved it.
Okay.
Excellent.
The first one was react, respond, and results. And I'd like to take that, just, there was a second part to that. And if you look up on our board, I know it's hard to see. The difference between knowledge and wisdom. In a few that have served would know in a staff car ride and that we gain our knowledge as we go through life. There comes a point in your career, such as myself, when you get older and you're not at your peak performance and you're not able to function as you did as a younger person. That's when you take the knowledge you obtain and it becomes your wisdom. The joy you get in the second part of your career does not come from obtaining your knowledge, of allowing your knowledge to become wisdom and being able to share that with. And with those two factors, it's something to really focus on. There's many books out there, but if you really think you can be a peak performer from early 20s to late 50s, you'd be surprised. It really doesn't happen. So if you can't make that transition from your knowledge, placing it into a wisdom, just count it as even a second curve of your life, and then apply your wisdom to those around you, you're going to be very miserable at the end of your career. And we can all say we've worked with promotions. And that's what happened. You can't keep up the level of performance they had throughout their career. And a quick example, if I can borrow Sean for a second. I'm Jeff here.
Watch that board today.
Yeah.
I picked Sean one. Well, 811, 811. 10 points.
And he's younger than 50.
Yes.
Yeah.
If I'm Sean's boss, which would never happen, but if I'm his boss, do I not set the tone for the day?
Yeah.
When you walk into your office, do not, when you see your crew, your group, whoever you're over and working with and for, do you not set the tone the minute you open that door? If Sean sees me come in, oh, what have I already told him about today's work?
Long day.
It's gonna be a long day and we're not gonna be successful, are we? I did that without saying a word. If I open the door and come in the office, because everybody's eyes are on you every time you come through your office door. John, how you doing? Great. Okay. What tone have I set for the office?
Good day.
Good day, positive energy. We're gonna be successful today. Let's deal with what comes our way. However, what was Sean's reply to me?
Positive.
It was a positive response, but what was it? You remember what you just told me?
This is gonna be great.
How you
I'm
doing?
great.
He said, I'm great. Did he think about that? Why, Don?
Automatic response.
Exactly. If I'm a true professional and I'm a true leader and I want my crew to be successful, I want my group to be successful. What did I just tell Sean in a way by saying, how are you doing today? And he replied to me, I'm doing great. Did we just do a courtesy? Did I really tell Sean I really care? Or how is he doing today? Or the issue's gonna be today or whatever? No. Here's a different way. I open up the door. Hey, Sean, tell me, what's the best thing that happened to you on your way home? Can he do a rote response to me? Can he say, oh, it was great, or not? No, I'm causing him to think and stop. What's that telling Sean? I want to hear what really is going on with Sean. It's little things like that that we as management and upper management can forget and get bogged down in the bureaucracy, paperwork, and everything else. These little things, I'll guarantee you, make a difference to your crew and to the people that you work with. You come in and ask, what's the best thing that happened to you last night? Going home, seeing your family, yes, this and that. Anything special happen? Birthday, celebration, what do you have to do? But no, is that not a true interaction? It's not boss subordinate. It's a true reaction. How you doing, Sean? What's the best thing that happened to you last night? And that took an involvement of me, less than 15 seconds. How have I set the tone for the day? For success. And that's our second. Thanks. You're welcome.
So thinking about that too, we usually, just in a safety setting or in general, we become complacent. In that I'm fine. That automatic response is as well too. That's kind of how I see it. So we need to step out of that complacency in general and be aware of it. Thank you, Paul. I always like your safety moments.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's hard to follow you. Not follow you, but follow you in general, like who's next? How can we beat that safety? All right, so Kitty, can you put the notes up on screen from last meeting? I know that there are already a few edits that Johnny pointed out.
I made those, so Johnny pointed out there was some
double words and incomplete paragraphs that Josh sent me a verbiage to finish. I updated, the voting record, I had it, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I had it, so fix that, and then, updated Kitty's title to executive assistant and outreach coordinator.
All right, so we'll take a few minutes to review these. There are a lot of motions there.
I also removed something from my note that just, Scott updated the board of the 3 outstanding enhancements, but it was just, I just removed 3 because it was all one. Just to carry over from last month.
Go back up to the treasury report. Oh, not. Okay, sorry. Under the bank information. Right there, Josh will take the task of creating a. Right, that was already, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
So Josh will take the task of creating a plan and related documents for an invitation to bid for accounting and payroll services.
For the record, I said you'd catch that too.
I do appreciate feedback throughout the month, so, if I get a bunch of feedback like I did, I'll resend it like I did yesterday, just to, so that that's the minutes that we're presenting. In case we do catch it all by then, so.
I don't know, we didn't have very many edits when we had the other person.
Greg's not far from here, you could probably call that retirement.
Do you have it?
I do.
Yeah.
It's private though.
Wish it might have been.
I'll consider that.
Yeah, so I hear a motion.
So moved.
All right. So, all approved?
Now you need.
Oh, I need a second.
Okay, thanks.
Donnie second. All second. Donnie. Okay, all approved. please
No,
say aye.
you need discussion.
Any discussion? Gosh, what am I doing right now? Do I hear any discussion? I know, right? Usually, do I hear any discussion? None. Okay, hearing none. Let me see, I have it written down. So all approved, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed, say same. Hearing none, motion passed. Whoa, we got through that.
Nice job.
Do we have any open testimony? Anyone? No? None? We're quiet today. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. All right, so for December, we had an incoming total of 19,556 locates, which is down 8.77% from December 2021, ending the year down total of 1.15. So
Can I stop you for a second? Kitty, can you put up the report that he sent us? Do you have those available? Just so we're looking at it too. Is that the crystal report
no,
or the OUNC report? Yeah, I think
Should
you
be.
just sent it.
that's it, yeah.
Sorry, I should have,
No, we were just
Should have
talking about
prepared you for
this,
that.
so I'll try to come up with just a
summary.
bullet sheet. I mean, it's kind of what's in the minute. occupants that it,
It's just nice to see something too.
let's go to master. We can just kind of scroll down from the top. All the way to the top.
All the way to the top.
So you guys get this, all of these, we can go through this if you want over here, but
I would love that, honestly.
so incoming totals, we have them all by month. There you can see 2022. You scroll to the right, so like 3 cells. There you go. So those are your monthly incoming totals. And we have it dated back quite a bit on this master report. So if you ever want to do any trending or whatnot, all your data is here. It's really a very comprehensive list. So but in cell X20, you'll see 19,556 is our inbound for the month compared, which is down 1879 and which is down 8.77%. So I try to keep it a little high level, but we go to.
So for the year, what would it be?
So the next box, next set down, you can see that our year-to-date incoming is 350,949, which is down 1.15% or 4,000 total over the year. So it's a pretty flat year as far as this is concerned. You can see outgoing 105,029 for the month, which is down 8.3%. Year to date, 191,936,676, which is down 4.18% on the year. So it keeps going down. Here you go. And then we can go down this master report if you want, or just kind of highlights I would typically share.
So can you explain to us why that is important for us?
The outgoing.
Just in general.
Sure. Okay, so your inbound outbound, we talked about our in and out ratio, which is the next number that I was going to share is the 5.37 is kind of your how you bill. So you pay us based on your inbound we bill you on inbound tickets, you bill on outbound. So so your payment ratio is based on those things. So one ticket comes in, it goes out to 5 different utility companies. That would be an in-out ratio of 5. So so these numbers just tell that story in general. This is a way to just track those trends over time. Incoming trends, obviously tells the story of how many opiates you guys are receiving. Outbound trends can tell a lot of different stories. And that's something we tried to nail down last year is kind of, why is this in-out ratio going down? Is it because work's being performed in rural areas where there's far less utilities, or is it happening? Is work in urban areas going down? So it's just kind of a way to check the pulse of what's going on. So if you scroll down a little bit, we capture here average tickets per day. You can see that that's down as well, 8.77%. That can be determined by weather. That can be there's a lot of factors that can drive that based on, but it's kind of nice to look at it on a monthly basis. Scroll down a little bit more, total number of subscribers. So if you on the bottom row here, you can see new and remove tabs, the next tab over. Bottom getting been removed. There. So these are your 2 new different codes that were added, and then we'll remove this month. We'll be back with master kitty. I put those notes in each one of those columns, so we have the 2 new. You can see it went from 1157 to 1159, and if you open the comment on 1159, it'll show those 2 additions. Scroll down, iTix. This is the total number of ITICs. We look at percentages here. And total numbers of percentages, so down, 100,446. So we're at net change on the month, 9.34 down. Overall, you're still at over 70%, and we have been for a while. So the overall billing, the overall number of 71.76 represents this month versus this month last year. And then the column to the right, I don't have it labeled, I should label that. It's just the previous years. So I compare. So that would be 2021 averages. Just so you can see where we were last month. And so, and I do report that out in the minutes. So last year, you were at 72.22%. You can see the last time we were in 60 percentages was February of 2021. So you're
So essentially the 30% that is not using ITIC. Now, does that include like?
or that.
So didn't we have a goal to have be 70% or above by staff year?
Yeah,
So we're there.
yeah, we're there.
Yeah, so we are actively looking for ways to increase that. That's the board's greatest cost savings. It's an advantage for us. So we're partners for sure on, getting things pushed to ITICs, NXT. We did that hard conversion last year. So that's all we used for this year, last year. Sorry. So now we're NXT exclusive. So hopefully we'll see that number continue to rise. We've been putting a lot of effort into that this year.
So does this include your emergency tickets? So tell me about the emergency ticket and actually submitting it online. Do you have to go through the 40 tickets? And okay, can someone explain that further?
You're looking at me.
Well, you're shaking your head, so I'm like.
Yeah, so basically you have to be self or direct release. We refer to them as direct release. You map them out yourself, then you release them yourself. So you have to go through a trial process to make sure the 40 perfect tickets. And what that means is, we're not talking about typos or anything like that. It means something that is significantly different between what was mapped out on the ticket versus what was said on the ticket. So once you get to 40 perfect tickets, then you're released to go ahead and do your own tickets online. Can be any kind of ticket, emergency tickets as well. The reason why we don't let people use emergency tickets until they've been at the point of self-release is because we don't want them to go into a review file. Because if they go into a review file, they can sit there for 30 minutes before they are reviewed and released, and that just delays it. So that's the reason why. There's really 3 things that the board should look at in terms of your financials. You were hitting upon them, basically volume overall. More volume means there's more money coming to the board, also means we're getting more money as a vendor. The in and out ratio, the lower the ratio, the less money the board's going to get, because you're notifying less people, less inbound revenue coming in from the outbound tickets, and your ITIC percentages. Those are the things that will drive whatever monies the board is going to get. So those are the crucial things. You had a goal of 70%. We really want everybody to be at 80+.
Right.
Because everybody does better at that.
So
In your ratio, the fact that your ratio has gone down is kind of a factor of a lot of things. First of all, there's a lot of members that have looked at their database and narrowed it down. ITIC Next has an impact on that because people are drawing tighter polygons, less people being notified. And then your membership, you've actually increased over the years. So the more members you get, more chances are you're going to increase that ratio.
I will note that this is the first month since January of 2021, where you had a higher net ratio than previous year. So we'll see.
And how many did you add? How many new members?
2.
No, I mean, from last year.
Oh,
That was last month. What was last year? 12 or something?
1145, this year's 1159, 14. Net change is 14 over the last year.
How can we get our ratio up to 85?
Your percentage of ITICs. That's something we're working on, so we need to focus on the operators who are still calling in versus calling it, using ITICs, so we have some reports that we can pull that shows kind of who the big culprits are. When we did the conversion from 2.0 to NXT, we focused a lot of our energy on those users that were still using 2.0 over NXT. We can do direct outreach to them, and that is something that we intend to do.
So make sure your staff inside is using iTick. Make sure that any contractors you use, you encourage them to use iTick. And that will help track this.
How about this faxing?
If you want me to pull up who calls,
I would love to.
should we do it offline maybe?
Yes.
Yeah.
I bet you I know who one is.
They're supposed to not be doing it.
That's a super easy report for me to pull for any time range to just kind of see who's calling in, who's ITIC, who's faxing. So it's easy to determine who that is and
Yeah.
focus on that. So just because we can call somebody and say, hey, stop using fax, doesn't mean they're going to.
Right.
And so,
But there are company reps here that can push the ITIC.
Yeah.
It would be good for us to know as well.
yeah, and honestly,
When we're
that,
out in the field with the contractors.
those relationships is what helped drive that NXT push as well. Is I can call X contractor and say, hey, you guys aren't using 2.0, you're not using the new program. But if I call Northwest Natural and say, hey, can you talk to your contractor? There tends to be a different level of push.
And we're more than willing to do any kind of training with small line and walk them through so that they feel comfortable.
In full disclosure, I've had a couple of emergency situations where my crew lead hasn't been available to call an emergency locate, and I have dialed in twice.
So that too would shift the percentage. It's definitely, we know the call-in function is a resource we want available. It's the masses, it's, when we did that 2.0 conversion, like I said, it was like, oh my gosh, the person calling in the most locates is still doing 2.0 instead of NXT. It's kind of like we can just attack that one and it'll shift it from 40% to 60%. And it was such a huge sway. So there's not as much low hanging fruit with, with that anymore, but we can pull it out and that's something we will have to be working on this year.
Look forward to it.
Yeah, so scroll down a little bit more. We'll just finish up this master report. So your net operating receipts, and can you widen that cell a few? No, I just.
Nope.
Oh, that is good. Okay, so your net operating receipts, as you see in October, we had the 95,698, and I put that note in there that we had the back, just because that reflects the 2 months of backfilling and did the tariff increase. And so, but then you can see with the tariff increase, this last one we had 40,000, which is 223,000, and this would get 32,000 versus 15. So your tariff increase is bringing in a lot more. And then scroll down more, and this is also a pretty powerful note. This is your blended ticket price. So at the end of the day, this is how much you guys are paying per ticket with all your discounts. So you can see it's hovered, it's actually gone up since 2018 from 42 to 501. So you are receiving more per ticket with your discounts, even though you're not ratio, they have gone down. What you're actually paying for a ticket is stayed about the same. So.
In a non-complicated way, can you possibly explain?
Thank you.
The blended ticket price. If you look at the bills,
Why it varies.
if you go to the bill summary, Kitty,
Billing details.
3 to the left. This is essentially your bill, so it reflects the total outbound tickets on the top. And then these are all your numbers, so on the left, it's total outbound, and then these 4 numbers below, the 5522, 369, those are your discounts. So if it's a center entered request, and then if you are an Excel person, I click on the 32,966.34. So that's your base ticket price of $597. So if you go to the 1959, you'll see the discount is $531 is what you pay for iTicks that are just updated, and then the iTick entered request text only is $499, and then your greatest discount is iTicks entered where they're already fully mapped in your direct release. You can see your that one is $447 a ticket versus $597. So there's a pretty huge discount if you can do the fully mapped versus just a normal call-in center. So all of those discounts. How much you guys like to look at all that now, but if you double click on the OCC, excuse me, the blended ticket price at the bottom. The 501. Just, yeah. Well, you don't want to show that up there too. Minimize your screen, maybe. So it's all on, so you can see it all. And then just double click on 501. Right there. So that's the formula that tells you how much your blended ticket price is. And this is on every one of every report is reflective of those monthly numbers. And so if you're curious to how we get to those prices, that's the map. So of all these, any questions on that master report, I guess?
Thanks for that.
Yeah. And then, so the other reports you guys have, you have a county in and out, you have charts, you'll click on county in and out there at the bottom left. So these are just your monthly incoming and outbound tickets per county. So monthly is December 22, and then year to date. So this one will reflect your entire year. And then if you just click on the next one over, monthly in and out chart. So we have 2 charts prepared that reflect the monthly in and out by county, and then the year to date in and out by county, next one. So those just adjust monthly.
That is another factor too, overall, ticket ratio is where the volume's coming from in terms of the county. There's a more densely populated counties, if you take more tickets there, your ratio's going to go.
So the next one's your ASA, which is average seconds to answer. So this is some just call center data. So the ASA is average seconds to answer. I'm looking at the bottom there on row 40 through 43. Average abandoned time, it's the amount of time it typically. The average time it takes for somebody who calls in that doesn't get answered, that will abandon the phone call. And then your average ticket time, so it's approximately 248 seconds per call.
Per ticket.
Per ticket. Sorry, yes, thank you.
Of those 30,000.
Correct.
30, or sorry,
it's
excuse
called
me,
in
30%.
Of all your tickets, yeah.
Yeah.
So we went over the bill summary, we removed master billing details at the bottom. So this is, if you really want to, if you ever want to see like what your company is being charged for. If you scroll to the left. A little bit.
The other left.
Yeah. So you can see. The kind of numbers probably doesn't mean a lot to you, but your member codes and your group. So, you know, if you want to look at how Northwest Natural is being billed or how many locates they got charged for, you can find all that information here. So down at the bottom of H, you can see 105,029. That's the number of outbound tickets. And then how they were billed out. So this is where, you know, again, we can pull to see where, how, it's this report that we pull to look at where your exemptions were caught and not caught. So this is a monthly report. So if you ever need an annual report, we have to request that special. But on a monthly basis, you can see how much people have been billed. So like line 1303, you can see Weyerhaeuser had 3 tickets. But at the end of the day, they didn't get billed anything. Because they probably either they didn't meet those exemption thresholds. So you can kind of look back to see that. So that's where your 131,750.87 is your total chart. And then the worksheet is, if you want to, you're welcome to look at it. It's just something I use to help auto populate those other forms, but the in and outs are there. And then the totals that are the take numbers and just some of the facts and the EI charges of emergency call outs that we charge you guys different rates. This is just a database to fill all the other forms.
Can you go back to that last report? I just want to, yeah. Into the left. I guess you are on. Anyway, if you look at the account number, that will group district codes together so that some companies may have more than one district code. So if you look at the account number, we take the totals for both those district codes and put them under one account. So when you're looking at exemptions or how much a company paid for the year, you'd want to group them by account number. Because that's what we're looking.
Do all those reports still add value? The county in and out reports still add value to you all, or? What's nice to check in?
We probably still have to do the reports to get the actual.
I mean, this is not an overwhelming set of reports to put out for y'all. I mean, yeah, the ones that we have to do to get to the billing cycle are the more based ones. That the county in and out is a request that came in years ago from the board. That's kind of specific to something that was of interest at some point. So it would be, if it's not valuable anymore, we can pull it out. It's, you know, just want to make sure it's you're seeing what you want to see and not creating reports just because they exist. If you remember early last year, we removed the mobile data because it was just kind of insignificant anymore. We don't have a mobile ticket that really created. At one point, we wanted to watch how much influence the mobile tickets were, but since our app really drives just to our website, they're not mobile tickets anymore. So we removed that one. So, but honestly, the only one that I would consider subjective would be the county in and out information, which we can always pull at any point as a one-off. You didn't want to have on your report. Or if there's something more you want, we can always find something, and we can pull reports that aren't part of your monthly report as well. We could pull one off, like that one report that shows who's calling in versus ITIC. That's always something that I can pull off.
Okay, you know, maybe just a reminder to everyone too, just to send out like a bullet of the reports that, you know, you could possibly pull for people, because, you know, sometimes we don't know we need it.
It's got 150.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have to be careful because you need to know what goes into those reports, because they can be misleading if you misinterpret what they produce.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good for you guys to ideate what it is you want to see, and then we might have a report that's already prepared for it, or we can always create a report. The database is very comprehensive. We have a team that can actually really get in there and mine information, but
So what about us going actually into the database and pulling reports as well?
We can give you access to them.
Yeah.
The only caution I'll throw out there is you need to understand what the results of those reports are and where they come from, because they can be misleading. There's descriptions on what they say, but, there's nuances to them. And if you aren't working with them all the time, you won't know what those nuances are and they could mislead you. So it's best if you're gonna want to look at a report, sit down with us and we can kind of walk you through it as to what you're really looking at in terms of the data. And the best way to do that is to say, what information do you want? And then we'll try to pair it with the report that'll get you there. They're not self-explanatory. And different states look at different things and they make different requests based on their circumstances. Unless you know all that history, it can be confusing. So that would be my only cautionary. But if you want access, we're not pursuing that.
Does anyone use this? You don't use
I
it?
would not relate that, I have a question about this. Did the in and out, the county in and out ratio, is that tied into the dirt report as far as percentage? Do we use that report to tie that in, or how do we get? When maybe that's the job, I don't know who that question is, to, but is that direct in your report?
We don't, our reports aren't affiliated with dirt at all. We don't report in and out of dirt at all. So what you get in dirt, we can compare with we would kind of have the call center data, dirt would have the damage.
So is there value of tying that report into each other? I mean, I like to look at county in and out because when we track it month by month, you kind of see who's kind of construction and where maybe we should put some investment into communications and that sort of effort. I mean, you can see who's really booming, blah, blah, blah. But when Josh does his report on the dirt, it breaks down by region that has county data in it. So I'm curious if there's any tie-in or if it's even worth pursuing any of that.
I don't know where you get your data. Is it from us or is it just through dirt?
No, through the damage information reporting tool database. And it has zip codes and then automatically populates them out when I do the damage for the ratio. But yeah, I'm trying to think if we did like an overlay or something, or at least, top 10, most active counties. I mean, it would be tri-counties right off the bat, and probably Marion Bowl.
Yeah, these county locate ratios don't change dramatically. I mean, if you saw one change dramatically, you'd be able to see that.
Usually change only if there's a large project going on, some sort of large build. We're typically gonna be in the metro areas anyway. So,
Okay, just wondering if there would be any value, because you asked, could we keep doing it, and I like to see the data, but is there any value that we can extrapolate into actionable data?
I mean, it definitely shows you where your locates are being called in, but that doesn't change on a or even your basis. It's gonna see the tri-county. It kind of helps you identify where maybe the smaller ones, or if there's flux happening down there, but the bulk of your work happens in the tri-county area, say on Umatilla on the east side of it, east of it.
It's beautiful, so you should visit.
Take you to do that report.
Well, I get paid by the year, so you don't worry about my time. Now, that is honestly like this report doesn't take forever to
Well,
do.
then leave it until we're.
It's about a half hour to do that.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Before you, sorry,
Yeah,
before you move off, can you just show the bill summary? And I know that we've been struggling with TBC, so on the bill summary for that same report, I think it's far enough, right? Oh, there, yeah. So I know that we've been struggling with getting our information from TBC, and as a treasurer, I know it was that's a big part of doing that report. But for me, when I did that treasurer for that 1 year, I had to kind of learn some of this stuff, and so I think it would be valuable just if we could just spend a minute to explain a little bit of the net operating receipts and the OCC billing because I know for the newer folks, they may not understand that when they see the treasurer report. Can you touch on that just for a minute? Not, I mean, we're not getting into detail. Okay, perfect. That works, and then just recognize when we're talking about that, we're talking about the bottom lines above above the highlighted area. It's line 34, the net operating receipts, and then above that's line 32, that was. And then basically, how does that work with our treasury report?
Yeah,
I think it's great.
just real quickly, your net operating receipts is simply the difference between your total revenue and what you pay us.
And what was confusing to me was that we don't see that until next month
There's
on
a
the
letter.
treasury report.
Yeah.
And so that's what I just want to mention.
We don't pay you until we get paid.
Right.
So,
My
And actually
question
that-
was following up on that, very similar. The overage deposits are typically the month after, it's like, so my question is, and I'm crossing my fingers. Is there another overage payment for December coming this month, or are we done? Does it look like there was an overage payment paid on the 31st?
Overage.
The amount, there's 2 deposits typically each month, and one lags by a month. And so I'm hoping there's still one more for December, because it was by far the lowest month for receipt revenue.
I actually don't know anything about, right, do you up on that?
you get 2 checks from us?
The, according to TBC, there's the main deposit and then an overage. Like for December, there's a November deposit. And so I'm hoping that there's another December deposit in January. Because it's so low. Maybe that's out of your availability. That might be.
Yeah, let's do that offline, because only ever thought you got 1 check from us.
Okay. Yeah, I can show you reports too. It'll make a big difference on our final for 2022.
So any more questions on this? I'm always happy to go through this.
Jamie was first.
Oh,
That, but I do have a question after that.
Mind going on to the reports you mentioned possible, and maybe you were saying that there are, but it'd be, I think the most interesting one to see would be the 29% or so that are still calling in or faxing, what you were saying with the highest.
Who they call?
Yeah, who are the highest percentages, and how much could we get? You know,
Yeah,
persuade them to get on the next.
yeah, so we are actively working on a campaign to go out and tackle that. Love to have your support doing that. If you want, I can send that report just to the whole team. I don't know what would be an appropriate date for each of you to look at.
last year.
The whole year.
Yeah, the whole year.
Well,
Probably one more recent, because if they went, I mean, they could have, right?
Oh,
Switched mid-year.
Okay, okay.
Maybe Q4.
I've been
What do you
thinking one of
guys
them
feel
work.
would be the most accurate?
I think Q4 reflects the professional excavators the most, because they're the ones that are gonna keep working in the fall, less homeowners. But I honestly omit the homeowner number in that report. Yes. We're not gonna change everything about. It's literally just a data selector, so I can pull it.
So you could probably run it, Scott, and do the whole order, but break it down by month.
Okay, I can do that.
Can I add something on this subject? On this subject. Sorry, on this subject. So if you want to know, if your company, whoever it is for your company, you can go and search in fact. Anytime you put your name, calls for. In my case, I go there and I put content. And I pick whatever dates I want from here to here. And it's gonna give me a list of all my business partners, contractors, who can call them. And tells me, give me a list, how many tickets I had and how they call them. So you wanna act proactive, you don't have to wait for a report. You can, if you wanna see your own facility, how it is, it's a easy way. You go in, you check that's how I call them.
Okay.
So I go there in the last 30 days, I look, they called in 400 tickets. 3 of them were over the phone, so I give them a pass. Who knows what's going on?
Probably emergency.
Or emergency. And also, every ticket will have on that list, if it's, I think it's an X3 or something like that, or an N3 or something like that, it's gonna show you if they use the new system or they use the old. So as a, facility owner, if you want to see who's digging for you, put your name over there and you'll find all of them. Then you can narrow down, once you put your name, who called in for Comcast, and then you see all those contractors that we have, then you can add a specific contractor and show the tickets only for that. They're not for everybody. And that way you can proactively see who's not calling in the way that you want to have them.
And so did everyone use that website? Do you guys know what you're talking about? Yes. Okay, I was just wondering, do we need a training session on it possibly next month?
Or-
We'll just a, hey, here's the website, hey, these are the reports, these are how you can pull them up. No, we're good?
Just
Nate?
to Mitch's point, you won't see any of the old system anymore because we don't have just NXT and fax.
Did Kevin have something on this topic? Because mine's not related. to this. But you
No, I was answering the question, does anyone use it?
Oh, gotcha.
Answer the question, does everyone use it? I can answer for everyone.
Then now you can.
If you, this is fact finding. If you have a question, I'd be happy to take a call and show you. Teams meeting on where to get the data and how to do it. I know Mitch is a busy guy, but I share his ease of use on pulling data that instead of doing.
All right, Nate, it's your turn.
Thank you very much. Brent, just so I'm clear, I think it's an easy answer, but you had said that we don't get paid until you get paid a month after typically billing. So anybody who you invoice and do not pay, we do not see any of that revenue. or-
No. So this is December's bill. This is just going out. So we allow 30 days for people to process it through. So we anticipate that at the end of 30 days, or somewhere close to that, we're gonna get paid. So that's why we base our check to you after the 30 days, because we feel we should have most, if not all, of those invoices paid to us. So that's what I meant by that. Doesn't mean that every single person has to pay before we pay you. It just means just the cycle is set up so that most of the revenue that's being billed for you won't come in for 30 days.
So who is currently that exposure of the difference of people not paying and get into that?
That was
30,
your
60,
aging report, but I think you're still sending that out once a month, right?
Right, but are you guys paying those 30, 60, 90s to us and
Yeah.
waiting for?
That's why if you have bad debt and you never get paid for it, or we never collect those funds, that's all we have to bill back, because we've already paid you for it somewhere along the line. Makes sense?
That was my specific question. You guys are paying us even though you may not be getting paid for 60 or 90 days or not at all.
Yeah.
So you guys,
We're floating your accounts receivable for it. Yes. We pick up that responsibility. We pay ourselves and we pay you. Well, we may not get fully paid till 60, 90, 120 days out. But if we never collect it, then that's when we come back to you and say, hey, these guys are 6 months behind, this is still sitting out here, what do you want to do? Because if we've already paid you your share, if we don't, we're gonna write it off and we're not gonna collect it, then we need to be paid back what we've already paid.
okay, so there is a true up that eventually occurs. And is it case by case? Is it annually? Is it?
Well, it depends on when you wanna write somebody off, is when we do that true up at that point.
Okay, so that's the board's action of writing it off, means we're gonna pay out of our,
Right.
pay you back essentially.
Correct.
So our members, customers, whoever are gonna pay.
Make sense?
Yeah, but you're finding that that's never true. Understand.
Yeah, well, if it got to be a huge amount of money, typically, you're aging. It really shouldn't be over more than, $3,000 or $4,000 unless we have some big ones. But for whatever reason, they lose an invoice or they don't pay it or whatever, and it could be a large amount that's sitting out there, but eventually they do, so. It is what it is.
And do we know what that current number is?
I don't have this one's aging report right now.
I know Scott and Josh worked together on this one and we have a policy. Can you remind us of that policy for the aging report?
Yeah, and to Frank's point, a couple of the big ones were, when we were looking at was Tinkles and McCoy and PGE, and they've all paid up. So it was kind of an anomaly. Those things happen, but there's also a couple of them that we brought before the board before, Redland, sanitary sewer, I think it is, and one other that is just kind of the perennial. And I think those are a total of maybe $500, if I remember right. But we did change the policy so that OCC has the ability for some of these, when we looked through the list, it was how many pages? 16 pages.
Original?
Yeah.
It was quite a- I think it was
Before
more
we
than
whittled it down. Yeah, it was
like
massive.
28.
And a lot of them were either credits where we owe them money, that the county's not only paid, but it's a positive balance. Or a 1, 2, 3 cent amount, like minimal, so for us to go up.
Late fees and interest charges, that's
Yeah.
when it started going like this.
It was nuts, and so we gave them the ability to wash those clean, because we'd spend way more money collecting those little amounts than it's worth, yeah, but I think it's 5. We talked about increasing it to 10, I think we settled on 5, but I can look that up. I know it was last year, but it seems like ages ago.
It was really to take care of the late fee and interest ones that. They had something sitting out there for 3 cents. Because of a late fee or an interest.
Move forward.
Yeah, and just for perspective, real quick, the last quarter, I pulled it real quick, there was the 99 entities that have called in locates. 45 of them have made phone calls, but only 14 have made more than 10. So it's not, there really is like just a group at the top that we could focus on to get those.
So 3.5.2 in our policy and procedures manual, write-offs equal to or less than $5 can be resolved by the one call contractor. Any write-offs equal to or less than $500 are reviewed by executive director and authorized by executive committee. Any write-off greater than 500 must be board authorized. That's what we stand.
All right, so so those are our numbers. So any questions on this report or the numbers presented? Good discussion. So other than that, kind of the only lingering enhancement, I guess, if you want to call it, that we've had outstanding was the adding homeowner verbiage to the emails that go out, and that was completed 12/15. As we said, the last meeting we did that week, so that is in play.
Thank you, Scott. I just wanted to thank you in general for explaining it all, because it's us. I mean, that's where we get our revenue, and we need to understand the reports, and so. I thought it was pretty important to just walk through it. And hopefully, everyone has a little bit better understanding. If not, talk to Scott.
Yeah. On by lunch Monday.
There you go. Okay, thank you. You ready? Ready, ready. I'll go ahead. First of all, let me say thank you for electing me. Thank you to be back again. And it has changed so much since I was last in this position, so bear with me. I think I will turn it over to Josh to give us a report.
Hey, so I've been having a lot of fun with numbers between closing out 2022 and teeing up 2023. So I think this is probably gonna be the easiest way to do it. Like Johnny referenced, EBC was behind significantly, and this was one of the changes that Aldo mentioned is we've never had this happen before where they're 2 months behind and they're scrambling to catch up now. And that's why we had December preliminary numbers in time for this meeting, which we don't usually have. So they're kind of overcorrecting. So I'll put October and November side by side on here because we have to approve both of them. And I have some key takeaways so that we don't have to go line by line because there's a lot of lines that are unremarkable, no change, average throughout the year. So the big things for October and November.
Can you shrink that a little bit so I can see the percentages?
I think if we.
Oh, Josh, you mind?
And then.
Oh,
This is the monthly,
okay.
so it just to be able to put October and November side by side, and then we can also go back to the main budget that has the percentages.
Okay.
So I'll just run through real quick. October was our top month all year for training fees received. And that was in large part because Kitty conducted our PayPal transfers, deposits, the money that was in our PayPal account. That's about 1,700. It was a relatively low spend month for dormers. And that's down in publicity. 5,989. We sponsored the Mid-Oregon Construction Safety Summit, which is coming up at the end of this month, and that was for $1,500 down here in industry event sponsorship. And then we had nearly $10,000 in meeting costs, and that's between our board meeting and training classes. And that's one trend that Kitty and I have been talking about is we're seeing increases in meeting and catering costs that we're going to have to consider for the 2023 budget. And it might also be an opportunity for us to save money if we find places like CCC here in Wilsonville rather than Hilton or like the Salem Convention Center killed us in cost. It was pretty expensive compared to what we could do if we're at member facilities. If you've got places that you'd be willing to host, and granted, there'll still be catering costs and things like that, but we can keep that in. So just something to keep in mind because that's a trend that'll continue across.
I noticed Salem was pretty expensive.
Yeah.
I was looking at some reports this morning from 2019. For example, for Garden in Medford, they had an 18% service charge, and now they're averaging 24% service charge on things. So catering definitely has run up, and the service charges are getting up. The room rental was the same. $395 hasn't changed, but they're gouging. Yeah, so yeah, we are seeing a big increase, for sure.
Yeah, and that's a good point on the rooms too, is that we're doing more excavator safety trainings in partnership with our board meeting. And then we also weren't doing in-person classes through COVID. And so those are a couple of other impacts that we're seeing now that we didn't see in recent years. We paid $15,000 in October of our financial audit costs. And then in November, we began to see the impacts of the back billing for the service tariff increase. That was our top month all year at $218,622. The call center contract costs were the lowest of the year. And we paid $10,000 in November of our financial audit cost. And so that was a total of $25,000 to Aldrich for that financial audit, which the board approved. November was an otherwise unremarkable month. It's pretty average standard. So I'll go back to the main budget. So Nate, you can see the percentages and bump it up a little bit.
So is this to November through November?
This is through November. And as I should have mentioned on that monthly, I hid the other months, but this column here to the right is the December preliminary numbers. And so I highlighted some of the question areas, like I was asking Scott about if we have more coming in for operating receipts, because that's by far our lowest month of the year. I was estimating it was going to come in closer to 190,000 in my projected budget, and so it's a pretty significant difference there. Call center contract, we may need to increase in the 2023 budget if that comes in higher than anticipated for the year. Publicity and training, we spent close to $20,000 on dashboard calendars, wall calendars, and shipping costs, which was kind of a backloaded expense in our budget, which was higher than the average throughout the year. And then the executive board administration costs, we just mentioned the meeting cost, that was Salem Convention Center. We did have some legal costs in there that we're going to move. It was about $1,100 in legal costs for the Department of Justice that was not coded properly.
So that would have been $8,300 for our meeting last month.
It was primarily for the Salem Convention Center and the Wilsonville locator training costs. And we have the breakdowns on all of this if you want to see the specifics too.
Kevin, can we use your spot?
I have a spot.
Yeah. Your building.
I'll look into it. I know, building was been hammered down quite a bit, but we've also looked at alternative meeting places like libraries and discussed. To reduce that cost and create actually some more access to the public earnings. So
I can look into, and I can work with schools.
We have held meetings down in Salem and Sherwood.
Oh, okay, good point. Yeah.
part of the issue is how much a public mean that entity is also has to make their facilities available to the public. So it is one of those considerations for some companies. I think we also do community college as well. For meeting. I'm not saying no, but I'm not saying no about all of it.
Yes, no, you have some good ideas. That's just a lot of money for.
It adds up throughout the year, especially with us meeting monthly and adding classes. It's a cost that's not going to go away.
Okay.
Unless we get creative. And then down here at the bottom, the wages and salaries and related expenses to personnel and payroll was because December was a long month, and since it's every 2 weeks, we ended up with one of those weird months where they're free payroll processed in December. We had the same thing in July, and so we just ended up end of the year on a larger amount on average than every other year.
It will be in January too. This month,
Yeah,
I think.
it might. It wasn't last year. It depends on where the dates land, but yeah. So that's a quick look at December. It's not complete. I think there's still some changes that are going to be made to that, and so we didn't enter it in, and we can't approve that yet. So, but it's just a preview leading into 2023, and it gives us some insights. So we go back to. So I changed the methodology for the percentages up here in the top. So I changed it to red if we haven't met at least 92%. Training fees are there, but the other areas had not been yet as far as revenue expected that we expect to collect. I think we approved last month any overage that was more than 10% on the line item. So unless there's specific questions about some of these, I think we've already addressed the majority of these overages.
Hey, Josh,
Yes,
if you go back up, what do we expect in fines and penalties? What's the number that we expect?
so it was kind of a pie in the sky, just guesstimate Kevin gave us, and we're not holding him to it. So it was, we just asked him for a number and it was, he looked at the crystal ball and 5,000. So we're, for 2023, we're putting it at 1,000 just because you can't. There's no way to predict exactly what the fine revenue will be.
Yeah, it was, the question was posed to me, well, we have a budget, we need a line item, so give us something. Okay. But I don't say that there's a specific methodology using penalties in the investigation process. So it's really, it's in conflict when agencies relying on expecting fines, and it creates this view that it's to fund a certain project, but that's not there. They just
Thank you.
And I just checked the December and there was nothing in preliminary for that, so it's a and at that amount for 2022. Let's see here. So yeah, if you look by category, general expenses were 88% of night, and you'd expect after 11 months to be at 92%. Total publicity is right there at 87%. Total training and education after we made that board approved amendment, moving 16,000 from classes and videos to the audit. We're at 68%, so still underspent. Total administration, we are over and will end over. And that's in part due to, like we talked about, the meeting costs. And then personnel, we are below, underspent, and total expenditures were under. So as I mentioned, looking at the preliminary numbers, with those initial numbers, it does look like our projections missed in some areas due to those backloaded costs that will increase. So we'll have to make some changes with that. And then also our revenue will be lower than expected unless we have that last deposit that I'm hoping comes through. And then I also, when I was working on the updated projections, and this was only with our executive committee, I haven't shared it to the whole board yet because I was still working on it, but my methodology for September included an adjustment for the tariff increase because that started in August, but we didn't start to see that until later because of the backfilling. And I accidentally carried that over to November projections, and it should have been taken out because we already knew October and November at that point. So that also affected what I was projecting. So my rose-colored glasses are a little bit less rose-colored. I was thinking we're going to end up really clean, really looking good. And we are going to have to tap into reserves. The bottom line on that is we should end around $470,000 total assets. And for 3 months of total operating expenses, we want to be closer to 650,000. So we will need to rebuild our reserves in coming years, and hopefully with the service tariff and with our creative solutions, we can get there.
So the projected that you have for 2022 is a negative 106.
That's through November, and I think it will be higher due to the factors I just mentioned, that there's more of a spend and less revenue than anticipated for December.
And then so what you are essentially saying is we're going to take out of our yes, thank you. Take out of our reserves that we have, which is around 600, right? We're going to use that to true us up.
Yes, we had, and when we approved the 2022 budget, we approved pulling $194,281 as a one-time allocation to balance the budget, knowing that we were going to fall short this year. So we're better than that, but not as good as we had hoped.
Okay.
So the sky's not falling, but there are some red flags here that I want to tackle before we get too settled on the 2023 budget. So I want to make sure that our projected revenue especially is accurate. And I thought we were being really conservative with the numbers that I put together.
With that report, can I make the motion or do I need all for motion? You can make a motion. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the October's financials. Is it October or is it, yes, it's October. and November. Okay. Can we do both at the same time, October's and November? October's financials. Need seconds? I didn't hear any discussion? All approved, please say aye. All opposed, say the same. Hearing none, motion passes.
Motion approved November.
Second. All right, any discussion? All approved, please say aye. All opposed, say the same. Motion passes. Thanks for getting us caught up. Anything else? We also have a credit card statement that we need to close out. So I would like to make a motion to make Riverview Community Bank credit card account number 4037-6603-0975-6310 with the account name of Josh Thomas to be the primary contact for the Oregon Utility Notification Center's company profile with the bank, and to close Community Bank credit card account number 4798-5100-6552-0294 with the account name of Oregon Utility Johnny Sapp.
Second.
Any discussion?
We're staying with the same, just on, we're staying with the same bank, we're just changing the authorization for something.
Correct. So currently it's Johnny Sapp's account that is the primary for the OUNC. So we're going to close out his and make Josh's credit card the primary for the OUNC.
And that falls under our policies and procedures with financial. The steps we have to take to make sure there's proper roles and procedures for financial transactions and documentation through the auditor. Like that's correct. That a board member is not.
So essentially, if how it was explained to me is the what is it, Riverview? Yes, Riverview actually used Johnny's as a main account holder. And we did not want that, that's just what. And so essentially they put Josh underneath and everyone else underneath John. And we have Johnny's closed out at the right time, so. Is that essentially what?
Yeah, it was a legacy. It was transparent to us. We didn't even know you were still on it because they
I
said it
didn't
was
know.
closed, but they said if they formally closed that account, it would close both of our cards and we'd have no cards. So it's really a housekeeping. And then to answer your question, Nate, it's better financial control now than it was before because Johnny had a credit card and he was also the primary. So there were no checks and balances, whereas now is the primary, everything we do still has to go through the treasurer and they don't have a card. And so they have the oversight role of any charges that we make. And they have access and TBC has access to our billing statements.
Okay, perfect. That's what I was most curious about. Thank you, Jeff.
Sure. And I would like to just for clarification, to ease everybody's mind, that was when I was a treasurer. And I had 0 charges of any kind on that. So, and I shredded that card. I was telling Katie, whenever we thought we were closing my account out originally 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So anyways, no charges, card's been shredded for years. Just in case anybody was kind of like, really? Stash still on there?
Okay.
And that's why we never thought it was inactive.
Any more discussion?
Paul was a second on that.
Approved, please say aye. All opposed, stay the same. Thank you all for being open to this. I mean, we're just still getting things cleaned up here. After our audits and just the processes that we've changed. Policies that have been changed as of last year. So, you know, this is just something that, you know, we keep finding little things here and there that just need to be fixed in order for us to run a little bit more efficient and have our checks and balances in place. So, are you, that's all I have, okay. I know this is not a scheduled break, yes, did we want to go over? Johnny had asked if we want to have a discussion on the billing summary. Oh, yes.
Oh, actually, Scott sort of addressed that, and I think combined with what Josh said,
All
kind
right.
of, I think we kind of addressed mine. My main concern was just to make sure that, because I learned a lot when I was the treasurer that year, trying to figure out how does all that come together. And I just was, thought that might be helpful to the rest of the. But I think we kind of covered it,
Great. What's that?
but thank you, Katie.
So I know it's not a scheduled break, but I know I need to get up and just walk around for a minute. Are we opposed to just maybe having 5-10 minutes? That's it. Okay, what time is it? 10:21, let's return at 10:30, okay? Okay. That was. decided to, when I moved in, the backsplash in my kitchen. First thing I noticed when I walked into that place, when I was looking, you know, going through the open house, I'm like, I don't like that backsplash, it just doesn't match the countertops. So when I actually bought the home, I decided that would be one of the top things that I would do is take off that black splash and put on new stuff. So I started it. I started it on Monday night. And I started pulling the tile off the wall. And with that, I had big holes in the wall. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, now what am I gonna do? So, you know, just processing in my head what I'm gonna do next, the steps I need to take. Because not only am I doing the backsplash on my wall, of course, I'm painting my cabinets. Because that's what I do. I just do things. But I usually have somebody work. And so throw off ideas, you know, one person can fix the wall while I'm cleaning up or whatever it may be. But this time I'm doing it on my own. So I have to figure out how to do it on my own. And I have to go back and reassess each time. Well, that didn't work. What am I going to do now? So that leads me up to the position that I am in now. This is my first time in a board. This is first time as a board chair. So I just want to say to you guys, be patient with me because I will come back. I do need advice. So if you see something that is happening or you don't like the direction of the board or whatever it may be, just speak up, let me know, give me a call, you know, talk on the side, whatever we need to do. And I will try to go in that direction. And that's it. And I hope we have a great 2023. That's all I have. Jamie.
Yeah, so. Obviously, I'm brand new to board, not brand new, but you know, new to the board experience. Thank you for electing me as the vice chair. I look forward to, you know, working with you all and kind of advancing whatever, you know, priorities are. So similar to Melanie's statement that if I do end up chairing one of these, you know, stepping in if she's on, I'm sure I'll be stumbling across emotions and things like that here and there. So definitely open to that as well. I thought I'd use this time. I don't have an official vice chair report, but I do have some information that would be just interesting for the board in general regarding our damage experience as a natural gas company in 2022, and just to highlight the largest number of root causes of our damages. Right now, we are seeing that 42% of all of our damages for 2022 were related to insufficient on-call practices. So that category includes failing to request to locate, as well as working outside the described area to locate, or they started and worked before it was due or after the locate had occurred. So 42% is a pretty high percentage, and we are seeing that percent increase as the years go on, because the way we've found ways to focus on things that are really within our span of control. You know, we can work with excavators, we can work on our own mapping system, we can connect with our locators, we have a lot of span of control within specific things. If somebody is completely failing to request a locate, it's very complex, right? To even know where the work is happening and to find ways to connect with them. Which we are working on. We're looking into having field employees call us if they see people working without locates. There's local coordinating councils that are maintaining lists about people that are working without locates, things like that. So I guess I'm just highlighting it just to mention there is more effort that we're looking to put into that as you know, other elements of what the highest root causes of damages are, but that one is definitely starting to stand out more and more. So thought I'd mention that, and that interestingly enough, there would be kind of an assumption that a lot of those would be homeowners that are failing to request locates, but actually about 70% are people that do this for them. So. Really,
Are you tracking the location, like counties or?
we do track the addresses. I don't have like a breakdown right in front of me, but, yeah, I can look at like where the,
You have the contractors too, you have the contractor name.
we have the contractors' names and things like that. There's other, there's the complaints that can be filed for people violating the laws, next day without proper pay requests and things like that.
So we have that occurred as well. There's and it seems to me, well, the fiber companies are the ones that do it quite often. But, when it's a contractor that is just, blatantly saying, it's an emergency, we're gonna. That's when we have issues.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of excuses that come up that are going to be reasonably behind, not professional.
So just coming to what Melanie said, what do you mean by it's an emergency? We got it. They're not gonna call in 811?
Sometimes they don't.
Because
Create.
if it's an emergency, you can start according to the emergency location. But it all depends. You have to call 811, because you can start digging. There's some rules and regulations that you need to follow. So I'm just, if they didn't call at all, that's the problem.
Yeah, and that's.
But they can start digging if they start calling an emergency locates according to. And follow all the procedures and they can start doing that. Is there an easy process for somebody, let's say, you go there and you see somebody digging and they didn't call, if there's an easy process except going to make a complaint if they don't have an 811?
So,
You're
as
shaking your head, no, but I didn't think, come on.
You can call, OSHA. You can get OSHA. I mean, if you show up on the job site and you're digging locates and marks,
you can shut them down, can't you?
but you can say stop digging.
Yeah.
And it's the year. No, and they keep digging.
Well, I've made this point before too, it's like a public safety issue. You can make the case that it's public safety, you can get public safety officials involved. It's like police, state police, sheriff. I have all the non-emergency numbers in my phone for those cases, so. When you can make a case that it's a public safety issue. And in your report say, in your communication with the public official, this is the law, I have the right to mark this thing. This is an immediate public safety issue. It does change. And so, that's something that's starting to develop. We've had those conversations before where they call the PUC and from Southern Oregon, or we got an immediate issue here in Salem. What's going on? It's public safety. Public utility safety sounds like this is a public safety issue. Have you tried the police? No. So it's how you frame it. To get an immediate, and conditions change. And circumstances need to be appropriate for utilizing public services like that, but there is a means to get the immediate attention and that issue resolved when it's a public.
So in some of our states, they have enacted what they refer to as a safety ticket. So let's say your crew is out somewhere and they notice excavations going on and they don't have anything in the system saying anybody requested the locate. They can go ahead and give us a call and file a safety ticket. And it's just that, basically, it's just like they're calling in for a locate. They're not the excavator, but they're notifying all the other facility operators in that area that they came across somebody that's excavating and they may want to check it out if they want to. And so the process of locate goes out to all the locates, just like all the facility operators, just like the locate does. But it does allow them then a heads up that, hey, somebody may be digging next to your facility that you aren't aware of. We uncovered it. Typically, by the time the other facilities get out there, these guys have hit the road and gone. But at least it lets the facility operators in that area know that they can check out their facilities to see if the excavation was anywhere near where their pipeline may be or whatever. We don't do a whole lot of them, but it does give an avenue for, one facility operator to let other facility operators in the area know what they saw. So that's a possibility that, you may consider. But it was done as a board's request. It is done as an emergency.
Yeah, it's done a little bit, because, you do that, let's say I'm the facility owner and I get a ticket like this, usually goes to a business partner that does the locates for me. We need to put an eye and kind of revise that ticket, usually goes there and they're gonna go do the locates, and I'm gonna end up paying for the locates and everything else, and nothing, it's not gonna give me who was there. And
Well,
most of the
Montana
time we
has,
go there when the facility is damaged.
Montana has a few more pipelines, so.
No, I was wondering if there's a quick way to do that. I see the point, it's a safety issue and you can call it non-emergency on under. If you want to do.
Yeah, I mean, there's operators that have personnel out there, and are those personnel people trained on how they engage in that type of activity? You see something, say something.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm here, there's a gas line, I see no marks, what's the deal? My options are this, do you really want to continue this activity? Are people being trained?
Thank you.
Again, I'd like to say thank you for electing me for this year, and to just say again that things have changed a lot since I was last treasurer, so I have a learning curve. I don't have anything to say as a report at this point, but I expect to do better this year and learn a lot more now that Josh is taking over most of it. But I expect it to be a good year, and thank you. Lee, are you still on?
I am.
Okay, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
Kevin.
The only thing I have to report is that we are revamping the complaint form to include the CGA dirt root categories or root issues, to better characterize what the event is that we're investigating. So this is going to align with the dirt report categories, so we can start looking at what types of complaints we're getting in comparison to reported damages. And I think it's a step in the right direction to start being able to have the capability to overlay some of those things. And staff has to vet some of the things that are put in the complaint. So someone might click on something meaning something else, so we'll sort all that out. But we are redoing our complaint form, and working with Esri right now to work out a mapping issue. So hopefully we'll get that up and running. The old QR code, I'm sorry, will probably be linked to another site. So I know that's been published for a variety of places. I can't use the old one. So I'll work with you guys on creating some messaging on that, getting our information on our website, how to submit a complaint, and make it more streamlined. We did take some of you guys' comments on so many questions, too many questions. We required questions, trying to really pare it down to what staff needs in order to do efficient investigation, and I think we're the second time around, I think we're getting closer to that point, so. That's all I have.
Thanks, Kevin. Are you guys ready?
I think we are. Yeah, I guess I'll just start by saying thank you for the opportunity to serve my first full year as executive director last year, and I really enjoy it. I love being here and appreciate the opportunity to represent OUNC. We have a series of presentations, speeches, classes, things coming up, so I'll just run through some of those just so you know what I have teed up here for the next month to 3 months. We've got the Mid-Oregon Safety Summit at the end of this month in Bend. Katie will be there exhibiting. I will be speaking on what you don't see can hurt you. So talking about the dangers, kind of like what I talked about during my final interview for this job, except it's an hour long instead of 10 minutes long. So, and then also tying in some of the new excavation safety training as well. Speaking of excavation safety training, I saw Nuka is doing a class on the 16th at the college, Northwest College of Construction. I want to make sure I got that right. So I asked if I could sit in on that, just as a fly on the wall, so I'll be at that. Also, thanks to Connor for getting me tied in with the GOSH conference. It's the Governor's Occupational Safety and Health Conference. Did I get that right? At the Convention Center in Portland, and that's going to be in March. And so I'll be on a panel representing 811 at that conference as well. We've got, I'm going to try and make it to the OUSC meeting in Salem next Friday. I'm also planning on going, Rogue Basin UCC is having a big 811 safety fair on the 20, I forget what date it is. I just gave the
January 24th.
Thank you, 24th. So I'm gonna go down there and say a few words if I can, and just kind of meet and greet, show presence down there as well. So really trying to get out there, just talk with Sean about some aspirations they have for a similar event out there in Hamilton area. And I'd be glad to come out there and present, train, whatever, just to make sure that we're statewide and we should show a presence statewide. Along with those classes and presentations, we've got more excavation safety trainings coming up, and thanks to Katie for working with Creative to make sure that we have a good online registration system. It's been an issue for us over the last year, and so I think this is going to be a huge improvement for us to help the user experience. People get registered and get their registration fees paid. Also, the invitation to bid for accounting and payroll services. I'm looking at looking into the state as a possibility. I know we talked about private providers, but there may be an opportunity, since we do operate as a state agency or with the powers of the state agency. I don't know if it's going to be worth pursuing or cost effective, but it's something that I want to look into as we consider the other 3 bidders. Oh, and I should have mentioned also on the upcoming events, Katie is leading our delegation for CGA in April. That's in Orlando. Yeah, Orlando. And I think we still have 3 members.
Can we get a show of hands if who's interested or wants to go?
This is for CGA.
CGA, yeah. Kevin, did you?
I think Mitch was on, are you on the fence?
Mitch?
No, on the fence.
Oh,
I'm on the fence as well, so if, Mitch, if you want to go.
If any other new board member wants to go,
Have you been?
I have.
I thought Lee expressed interest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's why I'm on the fence. I like to see him. But I'd rather go.
So maybe reach out to Lee. Lee, are you still with us?
I am.
Are you interested in CGA in Florida?
I am. I had let Kitty know at the last meeting that I'd like to be considered, and I told my organization that this would be the one trip I'd like to go to this year. I saw the agenda and it looks really educational, and then I could probably learn more about the dirt report, I'm assuming.
To make sure you're all right. So, Lee, Jamie, and Kevin.
So I'm thinking it's around, just to be safe, like $2,000 a person. I think 1,050, we get the government rate or membership. And flights I've been looking at were around 800, Alaska flight, Portland direct to Orlando.
And
And that was
the
about
sooner
800.
we can get this scheduled, the better. Just for cheaper flights. Yeah. Do we have that? We have that in the budget, right?
We included that in travel, but I think we approved 3. And that would also be good to know if any of you 3 are using company funds or if you're looking to be reimbursed in total. So I know in some do, some pay for some of it, some pay for, like we could pay for the registration and I don't know what else. I know sometimes it's split.
I don't need to be reimbursed,
Okay.
so take me off the list.
Take it off the list even go,
No,
No.
for
Reimbursement.
Okay. so you will pay for it.
Great.
Josh, before you move on,
Yeah.
are you, I know you were talking about joining that other organization. Are you planning on going to the global excavation thing? No?
No, I don't. You're talking about facility.
FNC?
Yeah. I've heard good things about it, but it seems like it's better suited to the call center than it is to the agency, but I'm still on the fence. I think if we join as a member, it's like 1,500 a year. So. But,
I just wanted to know because we'll be there.
oh, good. Yeah, I'd be interested to hear your take
Yeah,
on it. Yeah,
it'd be first time I go to that
okay,
committee meeting, but I'll go this time.
great. Forget what that stands for. It's like facility management or
Something notifications.
yeah.
So Alva brought up a good point, with Kevin paying, with his company paying, we could add another person.
I think we can have as many persons as we want, as long as we're in the budget. I don't think we have, there would be a, then we can, there would be a good time to read, there would be a time for. It all depends on the interest and the budget. And I think the board that approves. Government to decide on the thing that
Okay. So if you guys could finalize that and see exactly how much we have, we could add another person.
Yeah, and I think Dale was interested. Unfortunately, he's not on the call, but he may be able to get some way too, because he's talked about having resources that they contribute. So,
But we guys are coming.
oh,
Hey there, I just wanted to let you know that I put in the chat, so when I went to the conference in DC, the city of Portland, surprise, makes things difficult when it comes to travel. So if this is possible for me to go, then I'll just have the city set up the arrangements, and then if we can do reimbursement later, that would be helpful. Is that possible, or is that unheard of?
I don't see why not.
we
Okay,
did that before.
okay, thank you.
Good. Other upcoming retreat is coming up in Seaside in March 7th and 8th. So we'll have a dinner the night before. We'll have the board meeting in the morning, retreat in the afternoon. So it'll just be continuation. We're talking strategic plan. That was by vote of you all. So that was the majority winner by a pretty significant vote. Yeah. Top answer. Legislative day, but I think I mentioned last meeting, Capitol is under construction, so it'll be office visits and hopefully a few meetings with legislators or the governor for a photo op. And we'll be putting in for the proclamation for April I think we called it Safe Digging Month, but it's National Safe. Yeah, it's Safe Digging Month, and then it's National Safe Digging Month. And then
Josh, what day is that?
that is. We do, it was around the board meeting, because we figured if people are gonna be traveling to Salem to be there for the meeting. I want to say it was the day before, but. Dramatic pause. Thank you. And so, tentative legislative day in Salem is April 13th. So our board meetings on the 12th, we would tentatively be doing those office visits, and photo op on the 13th. That all pans out. April 13th.
Can I go back to the retreat? It says
Yes.
we would need to be there 7 and 8.
Ideally, yeah, and the OUCC meeting is on the 7th too, so you could attend that as well. And that's typically noon to 3-ish.
And also piggyback on, so if we're doing that in the afternoon of the 8th, can we just kind of plan on that? That's gonna probably take till like 5 o'clock, so maybe for both of us. Plan on spending that evening, we probably.
Yeah, we can try and wrap up early, but if we have lunch, we can do a working lunch if you're up for it, but, you know, to at least give it 3 hours, at a minimum. You'd still be facing a pretty late drive. Yeah, we can get you some details on that as well, so we know where it'll be and still putting together the agenda, but
Is that a regular board meeting as well?
yes. Yeah. That's all on the 8th. Let's see, okay. Dirt data, new dirt data for 2022 usually comes out April, May timeframe, so I'll crunch numbers on that and get back to you with new insights there. And speaking of that, Lynn B. Demko trained me on all of that, gave me a lot of advice and suggestions when I was getting started. Went way the extra mile, and so I brought an award for her today. I'm guessing she may be caught up in all this FAA business, the airports and airplane flights being canceled and everything today. But we'll make an effort to recognize her with this certificate of appreciation I brought here in front of the Rooster. So with that, I'll open it up to questions, and thanks again.
I do have one thing
Yes.
that I noticed. So I was on the website and I could not find board documents. Are they still there?
Board
And-
docs.
Yeah, and where is it located? Yeah, if you can do that, that would be great, because I looked
So they're
everywhere.
hidden, so that's the path of, when you guys first joined, and I give you the Dig Safely email address
Mhm.
and a password. That is really the one time you guys need to keep track of, or have that, because then you can go to quarterly docs. See if I can remember, because you're gonna type in Dig Safely. It's been a while, since I remember quarterly docs.
And, well, I have the link to it. So I just go to the link, however.
Okay, so have an account on the right.
So can you start us from the way beginning? That's
Oh,
because
sure. Okay,
that's
so-
where.
I typed in up here, Dig Safely Oregon dashboard docs.
So, okay, so. Do you have to have that link to actually look it up on the website? Because
That's what you
this
have
was-
to type in to get to this page.
Okay, because I was just looking at the website and I could not find that.
Yeah, it's like the one privacy that we have. Everything else is transparent to the public, but this is just specific documents that the board can go to look at, review, or download.
Can you tell us what is in that? Sure. Is in there? Does everyone know about this?
We don't know if we remember the password, but.
One, two.
811?
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. So obviously my count is showing, so over to the right, yeah, I just type in Kitty at Dig Safely with my password. We're all pretty similar. It's like, dig safe, you're the deer, your initials, and then board only docs. Click on that. It's, contracts, legislative update letters, public meetings, I put in, annual reports, board resolutions, I update bylaws, we update.
So pretty much anything that we talk about during the meetings is in here. Okay.
And then, of course, what's open to any of us, public, is the minutes. So if, we go to our website under meetings, board meetings. Scroll down on any page, OAR, publicity, whatever. Like here, you can even see the videos. I post those. If that's entertaining. No. Then if you wanna, any of the agendas or minutes, it's all right there.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so we are gonna go into executive session. So this will mean essentially all board members will stay and the others will need to leave. Like you give. Share. Post. Thank you. So, the rest will need to leave. And, I'm hoping that it'll be around lunchtime when we get done, maybe sooner. So we'll just go into lunch. Is this what I need to read that? Okay. So apparently I'm supposed to read something going into executive session, and Nate was very nice to actually send me the blurb I was supposed to read. So the OUNC board will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192.6602I. To review and evaluate the performance of an officer, employee, or staff member if the person does not request an open meeting. This reason for executive session may not be used to do a general evaluation of an agency goal, objective, or operation, or any directive to personnel concerning those subjects. So far as 192.6602. Continuing on, representatives of the news media and designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the attendance are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience to come back into.
That.
Grab a hold. Okay, so if you have a hard time with this, you can also just do this. Okay. Other side. Go ahead, switch side, you guys. So when you're right here, try to stand tall. Roll the shoulders back, your chest out, pretty tight. Now bring your knees together. There you go. Push the hips forward. Release. Okay, just take it out. Nice job. Okay, how do you feel?
Question.
Lee, did you join us?
Yes, we're off mute.
I know Kim did.
Yeah.
I am here and I can hear everyone.
Join us, Kim.
Yes, I'm back.
A little stretch and fun. All right, you guys. So we don't have too much left actually to go. We're gonna go through the committee reports. So the first committee report is OAR's. Jessica is now the chair. And she is not present. And then we're skipping on to publicity. Do we have any updates there?
Yes. I'm feeling good with it.
So we're scheduling a publicity committee meeting either the 24th or 25th this month. We will be inviting Alpha Media. Give us a recap. And I think we're gonna look at Box 12, what is it? Around the house. She worked on the campaign that she first presented to us, and it was way over our budget. So now we're looking at maybe advertising opportunities for around 10,000 to 15,000. And then just, kind of what 2020 looks like.
Perfect. Okay, budget and audit committee. Everything all that.
I do not have anything. Josh, do you have anything?
We may want to convene as a committee to talk about the proposed changes to the adopted 2023 budget.
We're going to discuss
Yeah.
a meeting coming up before next month.
Oh, and if it falls under this committee, it used to be in contracts. We're supposed, according to our not bylaws, but policy and procedures manual, we're supposed to be auditing calls from the call center. Washington does this, where a board member would be assigned a few calls to listen in on and then report back. So it's not a financial audit, but it is considered an audit. Okay.
Oliver, did you want to throw some dates at me for the meeting? Well, since Nate is on the too, budget and audit.
Yeah.
Do you want to do it the night before or the afternoon before next month meeting? Which would be, we're Wilsonville, we're on February 8th. In the afternoon.
Yeah, oh, no, can we do it early on the 8th? Cause I have a night. Can we do it at 8 AM? on the 8th? Just because I won't be getting it before on the 7th. We're looking at.
I know.
Oh,
We're back here,
no, not back here. We're back on the.
so we can do 7:30 or 8.
Should we do mid-range, 7:45? We'll get a chance to eat breakfast in between the two meetings.
Working.
That works. Okay. Mitch, do you have anything for us?
We're on the committee. everybody. I do know that I thanks John for everything that he did last year. Great year, and looking forward for new committee meetings this year to discuss strategy for this year and see where we can go from there. But nothing to.
Well, this is gonna be a lot faster than I was thinking. Okay, policy and procedures, Jennifer is not here. But I would like, since we're in the ad hoc meeting right now, is I would like to propose an ad hoc committee for compensation. And I would like to ask Kate to have that. The compensation committee would pretty much parallel what we have going on with employee reviews.
So I'm on vacation for 8 days in the next month, and I also have city council goal setting, which is 3 days, 2 days over the weekend. So I think it'd be challenging to be successful before our meeting next month. I'm willing to participate, but I don't feel comfortable leading, knowing that I wouldn't have the appropriate time.
Okay.
But I'm willing to be on the team.
Yep. Is there anyone else willing to take it on?
Were you looking at it to be completed before the next board meeting?
It'll be a fast turnaround. We're hoping, a month, maybe two. I'm hoping.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll figure it out. Who else? Do you want? How are you?
Well, all there needs to be on it. That's the must. Who else would like to be on it?
That's good if we're gonna try to be efficient. Three's a good.
Oh, I will.
Or is it better? I was thinking for coordination and timing.
I would say 3 to 4.
If you don't find a fourth person, how long do you think you might? You have any idea?
I'm going to reach out to Ryan, get the historical documentation, review that. and Then probably to decide a recommendation. myself. 2 weeks over the next month. Wanted to bring it up to come up with and
There's no deal that can do it on all.
You're an employee, right? Yeah. So you might have access to things that you might need.
I'm a state, well, I'm a government employee as well. I think I have everything. Johnny, you
If there's nobody else that can do it,
We have Sean.
all with me, Johnny. Kevin. Kevin, are you in?
is that over 4? Well, if Kevin wants to do it.
Yeah, expect an email from me early next week about it schedule.
Okay, so just, this, as we talked about, it is just a timing thing we needed to take care of. You can't commit to it, that's fine. Just maybe I'll put in for you. That's good enough. All right, perfect. Gosh, things are just rolling right along. Kyle, that's the other person, Kyle. So, OUCC report, Kyle's not here, but do you have anything, or does not have anything?
Really new. We have our next meeting will be in March. We had our last meeting before the last OUNC meeting, so nothing. We haven't met. since then, so. We need to, nothing for this.
All right,
TBC did send a check, so that should be getting to all those in the next week.
Okay.
When that comes in, if I have not been on the account yet, I'm gonna get with you.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I talked about that.
That's stuff we don't need about it.
all right, industry news, Do you have anything for us, Josh? You are so good at that.
Nothing beyond what I've been sending in headlines, and I'll have a new batch coming out. Monday. And then we'll have our delegation report back when we get back from CTA, and I'm sure they'll have a lot of insights from that too.
And then,
I just appreciate the Eastern Oregon updates. That's really helpful. I love when you put that people.
Coming.
Yeah, appreciate it.
we already talked about the PGA conference. Being old business, we didn't have any, did we? Any new business?
We discussed talking or having the OER meeting monthly after these meetings. Now that Jessica is the chair, was she planning to continue forward with that or?
Have you heard?
We probably would. We'll talk to Mike, I will probably give the feedback on how the meetings are going, and she'll probably take the same. I'm thinking, I'm hoping.
You're hoping, I'm not.
Because there's a few things on the agenda, on that we're discussing, and still
Oh, yes.
under discussion and stuff like that. All kinds of stuff.
So like I brought up before at last meeting, and just to bring up again, is, when we talk about our strategic plan and stuff, I also want to talk about our meetings as well. And I guess just to clarify a little bit, because I did see in the notes, I think I meant something else in the notes for, anyway. So, I was thinking one month would be a board meeting. And then the next month would be just for the fact of, you know, the OER meetings just seem to go forever, 2 hours or so. And so I feel like it would just be best if we could focus our time on the OER meetings instead of board meeting and then OER. So I personally would like to stagger them. And then, you know, our committee meetings, we can just schedule throughout the month as we normally do. But that's my thinking on it. Like I said, I just want you guys to start thinking about it too, and it's something that we can discuss in March.
I have a question.
Sure.
So speaking of the OER committee, looking at the members here. Of the committee, we have a Scott Crosby and a Sean Crosby. So I'm wondering if,
That's a typo that I will fix.
okay, so am I on the OER committee?
Here's what I'd like to be the Crosby. You're Crosby now.
Okay.
Yes, or no, I can remove you.
Well, if we can work towards what you're wanting to do, because I am interested in being on that. I do understand that it's a lot of work. If that's something that we can work towards spending more time on, the truth, I would like. Yes.
And I just noticed Sean Crosby, I need to add a star. He works for USIC. So we do have a Sean Crosby
Okay.
as a non-voting member.
Well, then I'm good where I'm at. I just wasn't sure if you had me on. I wasn't sure if you had me on there, but
We can look at it there.
I came back from lunch late, so I don't know if I missed it, but we planning on taking action to approve the process, so we can proceed forward with that.
Thank you for reminding me. Yes. So, I'm sure where to put some of it. Share screen? Yes, share screen, please. So, I cannot make a motion, right?
We can entertain them.
I can entertain it.
So moved.
What is it?
To adopt the outline employee performance review process effective today.
However, there are some edits that need to happen. Yes, so remember,
Change the month.
we need to change the month. So the process is gonna start in October, right?
No, September, but we have to have it completed by everybody.
Completed by October. Okay, so can you put that, process starts in September of each year for budget purposes. And completed in October, then completed in October, or however you want to do that. So the third bullet line.
Whoa.
Yeah, oh, wow. Shouldn't be. I think it's something that doesn't work. It's word help, it's helping you. And shall be, not should. Because it will be.
Are you gonna take?
But that-
the whole thing out
That's,
completely?
we are doing one over the next 30 days. So we're not waiting for this one. This is our process moving forward after we complete the outstanding review process that's on.
Okay, so the process starts in September of each year for budget purposes and shall be completed in October. So why don't you take out, the process starts in September and shall be completed in October of each year for budget purposes. So just cut that. And put that, yeah. Okay, and then we had to get rid of. No, I think everything else is right.
So you're gonna need the optional self-evaluation back in September, not October, right?
It's there.
Yeah.
We returned in October, but if you're completed by it. The fourth bullet from the bottom. That's
Yeah.
what we talked about.
So executive, to hear the results of the evaluation. So that essentially means, the executive director will have the meeting. Well, the chair and the director will have the meeting and then come back to executive session. And recap. Or recap, yeah.
But the executive director. So we'll just have an executive session for executive session. For to update.
Yeah,
the board.
take out executive director call into executive. Nope. Just executive director call into. Okay. If it's not in there, then there's no opportunity to do that.
There needs to be a bullet added regarding your chair and the executive director. Having a meeting for this kind of.
Results and review of employee. Okay, so results, will be compiled. And then after compiled. That's when, there will be the evaluation. Will be compiled. And then, so it'll be the executive director and chair evaluation, performance evaluation. So the results is very.
You can take out all others and I figured the room because it's an executive session.
Right, okay, so. And. Gosh, darn it, okay. And. There. then. Well. What do I need to put there?
Some point we'll be to discuss results or something.
Okay.
It's just a meeting between. Or wordsmith, however you guys.
To complete the formal review.
Yeah, I like it.
What is it?
We'll need to complete the formal review.
We'll need, okay, we'll.
Need.
And you got need, but I think you meant meet, right?
We'll meet. We'll meet,
I don't know.
Needs good.
all right, does anyone know what to do?
There's the leftover chicken.
Okay, so that
You can eat honey.
that is what we agreed to, right? Okay. So the motion is still on board.
Sorry, one more just type of thing, third bullet of, either reviewed document is signed by executive director or word that there.
So to restate my motion, I move to accept the OUNC employee performance review process as presented.
Will you email me that?
Yes. Send it to you, and Katie. Thank you. Okay.
Any discussion?
Yeah, any discussion? Folks, any other questions?
Yeah, I thought, make sure.
Rich, okay, sorry. So do we have any discussion? Good, yeah. All approved, please say aye. All opposed, say- Hearing none, motion passes. Thanks to all. I think that was pretty much the last thing that we have going on. Is there any new business?
We need a motion to approve the evaluation. What the criteria is. That needs to be approved by the board.
Meeting.
Does anyone know?
I think that's a part of the policy. Manual?
Does anyone know?
I've never seen it. Not that that any council or board. Yeah. I mean, but we can do whatever we want.
Well, I'm assuming it, I mean, it seems to be a part of the process here, so would we have to approve another document part of the process?
I think that's a policies and procedures thing. It's part of the review part, but I don't think that's a board voting on motion or action.
So we're all good with that?
After.
Okay. All right. We have anything? Is the order? Yes.
Really appreciate your conduct in the first meeting, and I really appreciate the idea of walking us through the stuff that we become this kind of so. We just hear it and complacent on, because I learned so much today during Frank and Scott's walking us through that, and those are questions that I've always had, I just haven't had answers. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Here.
All right.
Anyone who wants calendars, we can have a stack of them over here, and I'd love to not take them home. Help yourself.
Oh, and anybody who hasn't placed their 2023 811 clothing, send it my way and I'll get it up to Dormer.
Do I put my those down there?
The entire year.
Oh, okay.
No
January.
no extra cost for the extra money.
All right.
They're 2022, but no.
Been backing them for a while.
Yeah. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, thank you. Okay, second.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All approved, please say. Aye. All opposed? Please say. Hearing none, motion passes. Very successful.